Sometimes I wish we could go back to a time when things weren't so complicated.
Welcome to the complexity of toilet paper, the podcast that dives into the everyday moments where we overthink, hesitate, or just get stuck.
I'm overthinking. I'm overthinking.
Let's hear it for the toilet paper!
Through honest conversations, unexpected insights, and a whole lot of humor, your hosts Phyllis Martin, Mark Pollock, and Al Emmerich are here to help you roll with it and make your life a little less complicated. One conversation at a time.
That's right, dude. The beauty of this is its simplicity.
Speaking of which, it's time to enter the stall. Put the lid down, or not, depending. Get comfortable, and roll with it.
Oh, worry not, dear friend. It's really quite simple.
This is the complexity of toilet paper.
And like that, almost as if walking through a fairy tale, that there's a huge toilet and the world is spinning. We arrive here in the stall with the one and only Lori Schur, who is an acclaimed author, a mother, parent, amazing lady, cool background. I mean, you're like need a medal or something like that, because you've got the life that a lot of people go, how did she do that? Oh, and she's an author too. So congratulations and welcome to the stall.
Well, thank you. And thank you for having me.
Oh, you kidding us? I mean, first of all, the only reason we do this show is it's so that we can reconnect with old friends and have a reason to talk to them. So, I mean, you know.
Hey, I always have a reason. I always have a reason to talk to Lori.
So, Lori, obviously, you and Phyllis have a history, but I have to ask you, we know that you've listened to the show and we know you're a fan of the show. Like, what was your first thought when you heard Phyllis was doing a show called The Complexity of Toilet Paper?
I was very surprised, actually, but very proud of her for stepping out of her box and doing something like this. I think it's so exciting and it's so great.
You know, Mark, how lucky are we that we get the out of the box Phyllis?
I know. I was just thinking that. Everybody has this impression of who Phyllis is or was, and we know the real Phyllis, the one who stepped out of this box and gets to play with us.
You get
now the
fun
world's
Phyllis.
getting to know her.
Oh yeah, in a major way. I mean,
Yeah.
a couple episodes ago, we're talking about her singing, and now word has it, we get reports from Tim that she's just caught singing down the street, talking to herself, you know, interviewing people at random with a roll of toilet paper in her hand. It's a pretty crazy thing.
I love it.
Who would have
Never
known?
change.
And all these years that I knew you, I did not know that you wanted to sing and that you love to sing, because that was always like a hidden, desire of mine. I always said if I came back in my next life, I want to be Kelly Clarkson and just be able to sing like her.
Oh.
And so that was so exciting for me to hear that about you today. See, I'm always learning something new all these years later.
So, Lori, Phyllis did her amazingly wonderful personal job of sharing the connection between you two, and what we really want to know just before we start to dive into this stall is give us your elevator pitch. You know, who is Lori Schur and what brings her into the stall with us, and what's in front of you these days, and tell us about that book.
Well, what I am first and foremost is a mom. And I have had a very interesting professional career path through the years, but what's been most meaningful to me has been being a mom to my son. He was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes in 2009 at the age of 8. And immediately after his diagnosis, we got involved with an organization that was then called JDRF, is now called Breakthrough T1D after a rebrand. Mission is the same, to prevent, treat, and cure type 1 diabetes. And fast forward 16 years later and many years of mentoring newly diagnosed families, living this life of parenting my son to raise him to be independent and self-sufficient, and realized that there were so many people who still didn't understand what type 1 was, and also newly diagnosed families that were really struggling with their new normal. And so I wrote this novel called What Happened to Normal. And it tells the story of a mom whose young son is diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And it explores the impact of that diagnosis on every aspect of her life. It delves into her relationships, her friendships, her faith, her career, and the way it impacts her parenting. And I wanted to tell this story. It is very loosely based on my experience, but I wrote it as a novel because I wanted to be able to show a more inclusive vision of what it's like to raise a child with type 1. And there were some experiences that I did not have firsthand, but that I know other families deal with. And so I wanted to be able to include that as well. So it was written as a novel, but again, with a lot of knowledge of my experience. And I wrote it because I wanted to raise awareness about life with type 1. I wanted to validate the parent experience for those new to this journey and living with this disease. And I wanted to offer hope and inspiration to people along that path.
Oh, just that.
Just that little bit.
Just a little tiny thing.
That was my hope. That was my hope of what would come out of this novel.
You know, Lori, you're the story in and of itself, and I have the good fortune of knowing you for many years and being there with you, really, and hearing things as they were unfolding. But the story in and of itself, and you and I have talked about this, raises, I think, a much bigger question that all of us, including our listeners, probably ask themselves from time to time. And that is, what really happens when life won't let you return to normal?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the book really sets out through the story in and of itself, while it's focused on type 1 diabetes and experiences, really poses that greater challenge and that greater question about really getting on a separate path and leaving one normal behind and moving into a new normal. And so I'm wondering what that moment was in your family's life when when that question first came to you, that you were leaving normal, that normal was going to look different to you.
It was frightening. It was frightening. It was disturbing, because everything that we knew to be normal in our life changed. Our daily routine changed. Our sleep patterns changed. Our way of thinking about going about what you would call a normal activity, like just going to a ball game or going out to dinner, changed because of the care that T1D requires, type 1 diabetes. And so I think there was an initial reaction to the change of normal was to be frightened, to be angry, to be frustrated, because you are faced with something completely unfamiliar. And when I think about the myth of normal, I think about what's familiar, what's predictable, what your comfort level is, and how you move through that comfort level with your friends and your family. And when you receive a diagnosis, or you have any life-changing event that is completely unforeseen, all of that is disturbed. And so then you have to wrap your head around that and adjust to that thought that everything you knew to be what you considered normal is no longer normal.
So let me ask a question around this normal piece, because as we talk about the complexity of normal or the complications of normal, I would love for our audience to clearly understand, what does normal mean to you? What I think I hear you saying is that normal is a semblance of a routine that we get used to. But I think there might be more than that. So, Lori, share with us how you define normal so we can better understand what's complicated in this new world.
So before the diagnosis, what I would say I thought was normal was being able to predict to an extent what my day was going to be. So I knew I was going to wake up, I was going to feed my son breakfast, he was going to go to school, I worked part-time at the time, I was going to go to work, or I was going to go, to volunteer with an organization that I was very involved with at the time. And normal to me was my routine at the time. And having normal expectations of, hope my child has a great day at school today. I hope he gets along with his friends. I hope he's good in class and listens to the teacher.
Right.
Those were my expectations for the day. And my excitement around the day was picking him up after school and hearing all those stories. My normal after diagnosis became, does he have all his supplies he needs at school? Is the nurse paying attention to his numbers when he comes in to check his blood sugar before he eats lunch? Is he able to concentrate because his blood sugar is staying in a normal range? I had no CGM at the time. The technology that's available today was not available at that time. So we were constantly doing finger sticks to check his blood sugar. So throughout the day, I'm not at school with him. I'm thinking all day about, is his number okay? Did they remember to test? Nobody called me, so I'm going to assume he's okay.
Yeah.
And then I had to retrain myself because my initial reaction when I would pick him up was to say, how was your numbers today? And I had to teach myself that could not be the question.
Sure.
The question had to revert back to the normal. And the normal was, tell me about your day. How was your day? And not make it about the new normal all the time.
So that was your normal, and your offshoot of kind of this new normal. What would have been if we interviewed him at 8? What would you think his normal would have been compared to his new normal?
At 8, he probably, I think, also went through the similar feelings of being angry. There was a little bit of a level of anger and frustration. He was a little bit more hesitant to do things, I think, in the very beginning. And, had to adjust. There were new instances that came up that we had to consider. If there's a pizza party at school for somebody's birthday and his number was too high, pizza wasn't really a good option for him for lunch. And so the frustration of him, having to maybe not eat the pizza when all his friends were eating the pizza at 8 years old can be very hard to understand.
Lori, this is such a personal matter for Mark and I. I mean, we've obviously had very brief conversation ahead of time. I'll let Mark speak for his own story, but for me, I was diagnosed as an adult in my late 30s, and my normal, quote unquote, shifted dramatically. But I've done a lot of work speaking at camp, Camp Jada, juvenile diabetes and American Diabetes Association camps for kids. I think you touch on something that is so complex, but yet simple. Like, a parent realizes that when it comes to their child, it's very black and white. I must do whatever to keep that child safe. But you're now balancing two normals. You're balancing your own normal and, quote unquote, trying to keep your child's life as normal as it can be. And yet we talk about, oh, I would wish I was a kid again because it was so simple, right? But for him, it wasn't simple at all. So these two complexities kind of, quote unquote, run into each other. What did you learn from him in those early days that helped you redefine normal?
What I learned from him was to live in the moment, Children have an amazing ability to only focus on what's in front of them. They don't anticipate what's going to happen. They don't have the life experience to anticipate the pitfalls of, things that could happen. And so they tend to live in the moment. And it taught me to live in the moment. And that was a big shift from the normal person that I was before, because the person I was before, I'm a planner by nature. And so I would plan things and I would anticipate things. And I always had a contingency plan. And with diabetes, you have to have a contingency plan, and you definitely have to be a planner. But I also learned that I could sit and worry from today till tomorrow about something that may or may not happen, and I was taking away the moment. And so that's really what he taught me. He was able to do that. He was able to focus on whatever he was doing at the moment and not worry about what was next.
Lori, there's something as I'm listening to you talk and Alan, Mark, your questions as we're going through this, I can't help but be struck by our attachment. I think all of our attachment to predictability, and that becomes the vein through which we live our life. We make decisions, how we view things, how we act. And whether it's a physical diagnosis, a sudden death, something rocks your world in it, whatever it is, a financial crisis, all of those things shatter the glass on predictability because, and thank goodness, we don't walk around thinking something bad is going to happen. And I'm not sure exactly what my question is. I think I'm thinking about myself as of late and thinking about, because my mother died at such a young age, it came, it was a long illness, all of those things, how I have lived a good portion of my life thinking something like always on the lookout for the other shoe to fall. And I'm wondering if you can talk about that, how you've been able to maybe balance that and incorporate maybe that urge to always be looking around the corner for something bad to happen, how you've been able to balance that out in your life and in what is your typical.
Yeah, that's a really great question and topic to talk about, because I've had several instances in my life where things happen suddenly and unexpectedly. And I think that it's very easy, and I still do at times get that feeling of, oh my gosh, I'm almost too happy something's going to happen, or this is too good to be true. When's the other shoe going to drop? And
hold on now. Three of us are Jewish on this thing, so that's just inbred and
innate.
Hey, us Catholics have it too. Don't worry about it.
Tied so closely together.
Yeah,
we're for sure. We're right there.
Well, we're totally related. Yeah.
And I mean, I always, tried to calculate the risk when I would make a decision, and is this, but this
it was part of your career
me.
too, in event planning, wasn't it?
Right. I was an event planner for years, and yes, that I had to plan, and I had to think about every contingency plan, and I had to think about every possibility of, something that could maybe, unexpectedly happen that I had to deal with. And so, yes, I guess innately I was always like that. But this really did change me, in that when it happened to him and then consequently happened to us, it really changed me in that I thought to myself, I have got to, and he taught me this too, I have got to just stay in the moment and stop anticipating things, because never in my wildest dreams could I have anticipated that he would get diagnosed with type 1 diabetes.
In a way, being in the moment alleviates the complexity of the issue, right? Because where I think I'm hearing the complication come through loud and clear, and Phyllis, you really said it so eloquently, it's the predictability. And when we lose that, that's where it starts getting complex. We strive for something that we can lean into, something that we're used to. And when that's kind of taken away from us, we've got to use our logical mind to figure out, well, what am I going to hold on to? I can over prepare. I can set all these expectations. I can make sure I have all these snacks. I can check the blood sugar more. So you're looking for things that you can control in an unpredictable space when really all they want and all you want is to enjoy the moment at hand. So I appreciate that. My son was diagnosed 8 days before college. And so very much the same way, my normal was, I'm excited and nervous he's going off to college. There's already the complexity of, someone leaving the house, but then it's like, I have no control of his health now. And he's away and he's got this thing. One of the things I learned from my son, Lori, is the exact same thing you learned, is be in the moment. So my son went skydiving. I'm like, is that really a great idea? And he's like, yeah, it is a great idea. I want to go do that. And he has leaned into this disease. He now works, he's a student at the University of Florida, and now he's also works at the Institute, the Diabetic Institute, which is the largest in the country. I was just texting him a second ago. He's going to be attending an event and speaking at the university in Orlando, Touch by TD.
Touched by T1D.
Yeah. So he's going to be at that event. And so what I've learned from that complexity is very similar to your story. Be in the moment, lean into it. You don't have to have all of this predictability because really it was fake predictability before anyways.
It really was. And that's what it taught me too, is you have no control. If something is going to happen, it is going to happen, in my opinion, regardless of what you do to prepare for it. There was no way you could have avoided your son getting this diagnosis. There was no way he could have avoided it. It is an autoimmune disease. His body reacted this way. No choices that he could have made would have prevented that from happening. And so it really made it click for me that I have got to stop anticipating what could be and just start enjoying what is. And that doesn't mean that you're not worried or that you're not fearful when they go do something new. My son is playing in a beach volleyball league, and they played at 9:00 last night. And yes, exercise can definitely affect your blood sugar. I was concerned about the time of day. I did not mention that at all to him. I carry that myself. I do not put my worries onto him. But I think about it. I thought about it. And then I thought, he's got this. He's responsible. He knows what he deals with. And I have to let that go and enjoy the fact that he is doing something he loves to do. And that's playing a sport.
The congruence, if that's the right word, and how this all comes together is just amazing to me. I feel like we're on one super highway that's interconnected. And what I'm talking about is the theme that's underpinning all of this is fear. And so, Lori, and this is for you. I mean, it's for everybody, of course, but specifically you and Mark. I'm curious because Mark, you're dealing with this relatively new, but at such a volatile age, right? And whereas Lori at least has had time to write a book about it, But so Lori, the underpinning in a lot of our shows, almost every single show, always ties back to fear. It's the fear of being wrong. So somebody's overthinking something. They're overthinking because they don't, they want to make the wrong choice. We've got a show that, where someone's talking about whistleblowing and so fear is underneath this. We're going to get tips from you later and definitely, but how have you how has your family, how have you brought fear into the conversation and not overthought and made it more complex than it needs to be? Besides the fact that if you make it harder than it needs to be, there's life is at risk. But how have you managed fear? Because I know so many people listening to this are like, wait a minute, there's lessons to be learned in my real everyday life, and I don't have diabetes.
And you can take out diabetes and put anything else in it, any life-changing, any life-altering experience. And I think that the experience would be similar and the feelings would be similar. And for us, it was arming ourselves with knowledge. And so getting involved in the community, learning more about type 1, learning about the research that was being done to treat and prevent and to cure the disease gave us knowledge, and it gave us power. And once I had that knowledge, then it was just a matter of time and confidence in learning how to care for him. And so I tried to simplify it as best I could. And it was a work. Phyllis was there in the beginning. She knows all the ups and downs. This isn't something that happens overnight. This is something that happens over the course of a long period of time of adjusting to your new normal. But I had to learn how to manage the fear so it didn't take away the joy.
Wow. Can you say that again? Mark, you just got mic dropped out of the building again.
I know, but that's okay. I'm okay if Lori has the mic drop.
Can you say that again, please?
I had to learn how to manage the fear so that it did not take away my joy.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Because here I had this incredible son that I was so excited and waited so long for. And I was angry that something was going to interfere with that. And I decided early on that I was not going to allow it to interfere for him. And so I had to manage the fear, and I had to manage the uncertainty of everything so that I could give him the confidence and him the ability to enjoy everything that was coming his way. And that's where it becomes very complex. And at the same time, you have to break that down and simplify it. I want him to be happy. I want him to do everything he would have done before the diagnosis. So I have to manage my own expectations and fears so that he can still be a child. And that's the complexity and the challenge of parenting a child with a diagnosis that you don't expect.
You can bring that into anything, though. I mean,
I was just thinking that.
just literally pulled a freaking thread through all of the shows we've done so far.
Yep.
Because I don't know about you, Mark and Phil. I've never thought of complexity robbing my joy this way. Now, Toby talked about it in her show, which is a great show. If you haven't had it, Toby Kinsel, don't remember what show number it was, but The Radiant Key, and she talks about it. But because I've experienced diabetes, the only thing I can think of is the closest analogy was I go on a golf trip every year, and I've been doing it for 15 years now, 12, whatever. And one day, I left my kit on the golf cart, and my buddy said, "Oh my God, Al, we just realized if something happened to you, we don't know. You've never told us what to do. That would suck if we had you would totally ruin our golf trip." And I was like, I just realized my disease could take their joy away. That's the closest maybe I thought, wow.
Well, that leads, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, Lori, please.
No, go ahead. I would love to hear what you wanted to say.
I think what you shared also goes on to another plane. So as a parent, think of all the things that we do to protect our children's joy. They don't know our finances. They don't know the struggles we had that day. They don't know the stresses that we have been through, because we're protecting that happiness and joy and love and freedom by taking on that complexity, by taking on those challenges and kind of distilling just the joy back to them.
Right. And that's true. The one thing that I did do, though, when he was first diagnosed, one of our first follow-up appointments at the endocrinologist, we were on our way there. And this is a scene in the book. And this was a true scene to what happened to us. And I shared it in the book because I thought it was important. We pulled up into the parking lot and we were about to get out of the car. And he very quietly in the back said, I hate diabetes. And I said, I hate diabetes more. And he said, no, I hate. And we got louder and louder. And the two of us were
awesome.
back and forth to where we started to laugh. And we said, oh my gosh, if anybody saw us now.
Right.
And then it was over. We got out of the car, we walked into the building, and it was done. I tried to, whenever I could, let him know that his feelings were validated and that it was okay to feel that way. You want to punch a pillow, punch a pillow. Get angry, punch a pillow. Take it out, get it out. Don't hold anything in, because that to me was worse. Like the worry that I did have as a parent was that he would internalize it and not vocalize it. And so I did become conscientious about not, sharing my innermost fears with him, but letting him know that I feel the same way. It's okay that you feel this way. Now we got to move on. Now we've got to get back to regular programming here. And so it was, it was a balancing act, and I didn't always do it right, but I sure tried.
What a powerful, God, I want to be your kid.
I have said that to myself many, many times. And I have to say, Lori, you are an incredible mother. Incredible.
Thank you.
Now, Lori, while we anoint you with this joy, this honor, while we flower you with all of this, oh my God, super poem, all that, there's also a time to come back to the reality of life. And that is right now, because it is time for the roll up. This is the roll up. And if you're new to the episodes, if you're new to the complexity of toilet paper, yes, we're splicing and dicing the finer intricacies and intimacies of life as it relates to complexity. But when you get right down to it, it's all about sitting on the john or standing and asking the hard questions and answering them. So, Lori, I have a question. Are you ready to stall it up with us in the roll-up?
I'm in.
Stall it up.
Let's go.
I like that.
Stall it up.
Stall it up.
Stall it up is new.
I don't practice this stuff. You know that. It's a crapshoot. Oh, no, he didn't. Okay, all right. Thank you. There's that singing, Phil. All right. Who wants to start?
I'll start. I've got a question.
All right, go.
All right, Lori, if normal was a bathroom habit, what would it be and why?
Oh.
If normal was a bathroom habit, it would be to always put the toilet paper on the roll the same way.
And what's the correct way?
For me, it's over.
All right.
Yeah,
gotta go over.
You can
Nice.
stay in the stall.
But there's
All right.
other people that live in my house. So
What?
Not
it's
normal.
a challenge.
I have a question, and this has nothing to do with your bathroom per se. I'm assuming you don't have a bathroom that is like a true stall in a public restroom, correct? Okay, but when it comes to a public restroom, are you a latch person or a bolt person?
Oh, I like a latch. I feel like it's more secure. I feel like the bolt, like sometimes those bolts have used so much they don't click right. And
No, the door just swings open.
I know. I don't like
it's
that.
true. I don't like that either.
I like when it goes into a hook or,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just.
Yeah, I don't want anyone
Hey, important
barging.
things are happening in that room.
I'm
I don't
waiting.
want anybody barging in.
I'm just like, how funny it would be to like have a restroom and like in your bathroom door in your house, it's got like a deadbolt and a digital lock, and maybe you put like the what do you call it? The little like that's your front door. That would be okay.
Little deadbolt.
Yeah, with the camera. Although I don't know if you want to.
You have a Ring camera in the front.
that's
You're
it, I
like,
couldn't-
who's here?
Hey, Ring, you just got a new idea. Thank you from the complexity of toilet paper. I wouldn't put it on the inside though. Anyway. All right, Phyllis Martin, we got 2 new questions out of the gate. You better bring it.
Yeah, I know. I've been starting to sweat over here about what the new question would be. But Lori, Since you are the planner of all planners, if you could plan the perfect bathroom, what would be in it? Like, what would it look like? The perfect bathroom.
Are we talking about just like the toilet closet, or
the
are
whole
we talking
thing.
about
No,
the whole
the
bathroom?
whole thing. The whole thing. What functions,
my
what
gosh.
features? Yeah.
Well, interestingly enough, we redid our bathroom a couple of years ago, and I got rid of the jacuzzi tub, and I put in a bench that holds like towels and sheets, things like that. And I freed up a lot of space in there. I like a really nice size shower. Wouldn't mind a vanity area, and definitely 2 sinks.
What
Okay,
about
but
the
that-
toilet
I mean,
area?
come
Get-
on.
Get to the
That's
toilet
nice,
area,
but it's
Lori.
almost kind of standard. Like,
toilet?
This isn't
Yeah,
the
2
complexity
toilets.
of the bathroom. It's the complexity of the toilet.
Yeah,
I need
2
a little table
toilets.
so I can put my phone down.
Would there be 2 toilet closets, 2 separate closets, 2 like separate toilets?
or like
Oh,
from
in an
Saturday Night
ideal
Live,
world.
the love toilets where they face each other.
No,
You could go
not
at the same time.
those.
No?
No,
Oh.
No,
I feel like
Right.
she
No,
would
there
have
are some
separate
things that
toilets.
Yeah, always. There's something that should always stay a mystery. Yeah. I think that I think that I would definitely love 2 toilets with 2 doors. Yes,
With
absolutely.
latches.
With
Yes.
latches,
With
not
latches.
the
Yeah.
knobs.
Yeah,
Let him
not
have his
just
own
knobs.
little space. I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. for
I
sure.
think what they should do is, I think we should all be forced in to write who's, you know how like if you go to public restrooms they write this bathroom was cleaned by, and you know that, right? I think in your house there should be a this bathroom was used by, so you know.
Oh, I
there's
do too.
There's accountability,
Yeah.
right?
I'm with you.
Now if there's only 2 of you, it's like, but when there's a large group of people,
Oh yeah,
Lori-
no, there's the guest bathroom and then
Yeah.
there's everything else.
Lori, just last question here. Bidet or no bidet?
Ugh.
No bidet.
Phil, no bidet.
No,
That was kind of a
no.
Mark.
I've never used one.
You've never used a bidet?
No.
We need
Never.
to have
Wow,
a
you're on an island by yourself again.
I know. I'm gonna have to go. Find one.
I know. But, hey, can I recommend that you just don't go find one? No,
Maybe be a
because there
little
are things that
thoughtful.
act like bidets that are not, and that is not a good experience.
Yeah.
Anyway.
They're like, sir, that's a water fountain.
Yeah. Pardon me.
All right. Wow. Okay, I don't even know how to follow that one up.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah. Thank
How
you.
about we just move on to tips?
Let's move on to tips. That's
Yeah.
right. All right. Bring us home. All right.
So, Lori, you have provided some incredible narrative around what is normal, the change in normal, how that impacts people, whether they have family members or themselves who have experienced some sort of dramatic change. And so, obviously, you have come through that with an amazingly positive attitude, with a book, with a story to share that you share openly with others. And I think our listeners would really enjoy a better understanding of some tips that they could use in their life, regardless of the situation, but where their normal has been interrupted.
Absolutely. So my first tip would be is to share your story. Share with other people what is happening in your life. Because the more you do that, the more you'll find common ground, the more you'll feel less isolated and less alone, and the more your reality will feel normal to you. The more you talk about it, and the more you share, and the more you connect with people who may have similar experiences, I think that will help normalize your new normal. And then learn to be open to the challenges of the day and not to get stuck in the perception of what should be normal or what should be happening, and learn to lean into what is actually happening in the moment. And I think that's really, I mean, you know,
So
you just have to share.
Share is I think a big one to lean into. So when you talk about sharing, one of the areas that comes to mind there's a lot of people, including myself, who are pretty private. And people will ask, how are you doing? I'm fine, or things are all right, or, you'll share surface level issues that are going on in your life. But I think you're talking about sharing something deeper than that. So for someone like me who maybe doesn't know how to share or who to share with, is it share with everybody? Is it share with some people?
No,
Is it share through a particular medium? Like, what's share mean to you?
So share means to me is to your closest friends and family.
Okay.
Be open about what your challenges are. Don't be afraid to say, this is really challenging for me, or I'm really afraid, or I'm frightened, or this has caught me off guard and I can't get my footing. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable with the people closest to you, because the more they understand, the more supportive they can be. The other side of that is find your community. Whatever it is that you are dealing with, whether it's diabetes, whether it is a parent with Alzheimer's, whether it's a parent, cancer, whatever it is that you are dealing with that has rocked your world, find people who have similar experiences and talk to them. Learn from people who have been going through it already, and get involved in that community, because being around people who are experiencing things similar to what you're experiencing will normalize it for you. You also will learn so much about what it is that you're dealing with that you will be armed with more knowledge, and knowledge is power. People say that all the time, and it's really the truth. It is so simple. The more you know, the less you're fearful. And so that to me is one of the biggest pieces of advice that I could offer, is to find your community and get involved. And so when I say talk about it and share it with those people who are also, experiencing whatever it is that you're experiencing.
I love how you used normal and normalize as a verb versus, the other tense. And that to me is this huge takeaway with you is that normal is up for grabs. But within the confines of whatever that normal is, you still got to find a way to normalize. And that act is so powerful.
I agree with you completely. And I think that the more you can normalize whatever it is that you're going through, the easier it's going to make your day-to-day life. Because you're not going to be fighting against it. In the beginning, you fight against it. Your instinct is to say that this isn't right. This, I can't do this, or I don't want to do this. And the more that you accept and the more that you learn, the more it normalizes it. And that frees you up to just live your life then.
So, Lori, before we close out and leave the stall and get some air freshener, y'all, that was funny. Like, what is the delayed laugh?
That
like,
was
nothing.
funny.
That was funny.
Well, no, it was funny, but I mean, she just dropped this bomb, and it wasn't the kind of bomb that needs air freshener, though. It's
Oh, it probably did.
I mean, she dropped that was another mic drop, but
I had
God, now I
segued
feel
into
bad,
something
Phil.
else. You should feel bad. I'm moving on. Lori, before you go, and of course, we're so grateful that you were here and have shared so much about your own experience and offered such great and valuable information for our listeners. Before you go, will you let our listeners know where they can find the book and how they can access it, or how they can access you?
Yes, thank you. So, What Happened to Normal is available on Amazon as a paperback or ebook. You can get it on your Kindle. You can also go into any bookstore and order it. They won't have it on the shelf, but they will be able to order it for you. And I'm on social media, on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on LinkedIn.
what do they look for? Do you have a specific handle?
So on Instagram and Facebook, it's A Schur Novel, ASCHURNOVEL.
And we'll put that in the show notes as well.
Thank you.
And if you're listening, well, Duh, Al, if you're listening, they're not. I got to stop using that. I mean, that's just stupid.
Dun, dun,
Anyway,
dun, dun.
yeah. But seriously, let's blow this book up, man. You got a great individual, a wonderful mother. She's got a great story, and don't get swept away by the diabetes aspect of it. I think if there's one thing we've learned in this show, there's lessons to be learned within the lessons to be learned that are giving you the lessons to learn, and you've given us that. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And I just to piggyback on what you just said, I have actually had people reach out to me who are not connected to the diabetes world at all that have been greatly impacted by the book. Different scenarios. A young girl, 20 years old, who had hearing loss at a young age and has to wear hearing aids, and identified with the son in the book because he had to wear a device. And she really learned a lot, not only from the book, but gave her new perspective on choices her mother made throughout the years because of her diagnosis. And so, yes, I think you can substitute anything for diabetes and still find the book very relatable.
And if you want to know more about diabetes, if you have questions, it's Breakthrough 1D. T1D, sorry, breakthrough-t1d.org. And again, we'll put that in the show notes. Lori Schur, thank you. I have to say on a corny note, this has been a sure thing.
Oh, get the air freshener for that one.
Thank you.
Right? Who's with me?
Better placement. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. All right.
I love it.
All right.
Thank you both all so much. I so appreciate the opportunity to talk with you.
You are welcome. You have been listening to The Complexity of Toilet Paper.
Did you say toilet paper?
Everything complicated. One big medieval mess.
I'm overthinking. I'm over